lots of research have come up in recent years that show that for people who participate in religious activities have just a better health generally, physical and mental health. Generally, people who are more religious and they participate regularly in their religious activities are physically healthier, they have healthier lifestyles, they require fewer health services. That's just broadly speaking. But then women, research that have looked at women who attended weekly religious services found that they had lower mortality compared to those who did not. And the more frequent they attended the religious services, the lower the mortality rate, which is really interesting. Attendance at religious services, people found, were associated with decrease in depression and a 6-fold reduction in suicide risk.
Wow.
So just the subjecting of these ideas into research is showing these benefits, that high intrinsic religiosity often leads to more rapid remission of depression to those individuals who have depression. And people also who have this high intrinsic religiosity, they adapt more successfully to stress and more quickly than those who do not have it. So that's just generally looking at it, that there's a overall general benefit to physical health and mental health when you participate more in religion, spiritual, and you have faith. But the types of treatment that we're talking about now that I'm excited about is the fact that people have compared, for example, existing treatment modalities like cognitive behavioral therapy on the one hand, and then cognitive behavioral therapy plus religious augmented with spirituality, and compared the two of them. They found that religious CBT models for depression or spiritually focused therapy generally, religious psychotherapy for depression and anxiety, or spiritually augmented cognitive behavioral therapy have all been more effective than the psychotherapy alone by itself, than the cognitive behavioral therapy alone by itself. Spiritually augmented cognitive behavioral therapy has been very beneficial in decreasing hopelessness and despair, improving collaboration of care with patients, decreasing relapse rates, enhancing functioning and recovery for patients. Now, they have been found to improve depression, they've been found to improve anxiety, psychological problems, psychosomatic problems. But what is actually really interesting is that two things are interesting about this therapy. The therapist who is non-religious or non-religious therapists have actually been found to have more effective at providing this care than religious therapists. I was really blown away by that.
Wow, unexpected.
There's the most recent one that came out, was it last year or this year? I'm not sure now, where group psychotherapy. So in group psychotherapy was carried out in hospitals, in residential homes, and intensive treatment programs. And that group psychotherapy, they added spirituality to it. So it's spiritual psychotherapy in all these areas. They also found that the therapist who was non-religious had a higher effectiveness at this than others. The other thing they found was that everyone improved, whether they had religious affiliation or not. They all improved. They had significant benefits, regardless of setting, whether the setting was in a hospital, in a residential home, or in outpatient intensive treatment, and also regardless of the patient's connection or lack thereof to spiritual beliefs. So this is really exciting, I think.
Yeah,